You never know what you might find walking along the beach. Many things can wash up on the sand besides the usual seashells and seaweed, but these things we found are definitely not normal. From a bizarre two-headed sea creature to an 80-million-year-old dinosaur, check out these 14 strangest things washed up on beaches. In August of 2014, a horrifying-looking thing washed up on the beach in Turkey. And because it was something no one had ever seen before, it quickly went viral online. People couldn't believe what they were seeing, and it was gross. But what was it? Is this the remains of some strange sea monster? No. It turns out that it's a two-headed dolphin calf. You got to wonder though, how did it eat with those two heads? Must have been hard to catch a fish, and maybe it finally starved. If you thought that one was creepy, then wait until you get a load of this spooky mystery. Imagine taking a stroll down the beach and then stumbling on this grotesque-looking thing. Yes, it's a scary-looking skull from some kind of mysterious creature, and it has no eye sockets, meaning that it didn't have any eyes. People looking at it tried to guess what it was but had no idea. The decayed nightmare was discovered at the Gibraltar Point National Nature Reserve in August of 2019. The woman who found the grisly specimen wanted to show the world and ask for help to solve the mystery. The creature's skull appears to show sharp canine teeth, so it must be some carnivorous animal. But where was its eye sockets? The plot thickened and some said it's the skull from a malformed puppy, but then others said the mystery skull belonged to a seal. So what do you think it is? Let us know in the comments, and we'll pin your comment if you get it right. Now get ready for one bizarre story. Something really creepy has been happening on the shores of the Salish Sea in the Pacific Northwest. Sometime around February 2019, some unlucky beachgoers found a human foot still inside a boot it was wearing at the south end of Jetty Island in Everett, Washington. If that's not scary enough, this follows a report that a man found a lone right foot wearing a hiking boot wedged between some logs on Gabriola Island near Vancouver. But wait, there's more. The year before this, a foot wearing a black Velcro athletic shoe with the tibia and fibula still attached was found on a different beach in British Columbia. So what the heck is going on here? Believe it or not, severed feet washing up on these beaches is a thing. Yep, this bizarre phenomenon even has its own wiki page named Salish Sea Human Foot Discoveries. And there have been 20 detached human feet found on the coastline. Is there a serial killer loose? One explanation is that during decomposition of a human body, the ankle is the weakest and they float because of air trapped in the footwear, and many bodies end up in the ocean for some reason or another. But the big mystery remains. Where are the feet coming from? Let us know what you think. On an early July morning of 2019, some French citizens were headed out for a morning walk on the beach. But once they got there, they found a mysterious, bizarre, and yucky-looking surprise. Washed up all over the beach were yellow blobs, and no one could figure out what they were. And we're not just talking a few yellow blobs either. There were thousands of them as far as the eye could see. People were trying to stay away from them because they didn't know if they were dangerous at first, but then some people started to investigate. Would you be scared? Would you dare pick one up to see what it is? I would probably poke it with a stick first. Some thought it could be foam. Others thought they were sea sponges. And many thought the chunks resembled earwax. Ew, that's nasty. The yellow blobs were spongy to the touch, and pulling it apart with your hands revealed it was a wax-like substance. French authorities finally solved the mystery, saying the yellow blobs were paraffin wax that came from ship storage tanks being washed and dumped into the sea. If you are lucky and happen to live near a beach somewhere, you can expect that sometimes things will smell a bit fishy. For the people in Lincolnshire, England, there was a particularly putrid scent in the air one morning that they just couldn't put their finger on.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
The locals started to investigate where the bad smell was coming from. Some headed to the beach, and, to their surprise and amazement, they were met with an incredibly horrible sight. The rotting carcass of a 35-foot-long sperm whale had washed up on the beach. News of the dead sea giant that had washed up on the beach spread quickly. Crowds of people began swarming the beach to get a look and take photos. But they were quickly repelled by the incredibly foul smell coming from the carcass. It was just too much to get close to, and a serious health hazard, especially after rotting in the sun for a few days. But we wonder, what could have killed this 30-ton sperm whale? What do you think? Mother Nature likes to show us a few crazy things from time to time, and this next phenomenon proves it. Lake Michigan in the USA is known to be one of the coldest places in the country. It can get so cold here that balls of ice start to form in the lake, and they wash up on shore. And not just tiny ones, but solid ice balls the size of basketballs, or as big as large yoga balls weighing from 50 pounds or more. Just look at how hundreds of these ice balls form together on the beach. So, how does this happen? It's quite simple, really. Small pieces of ice in the water rotate in the crashing waves and eventually exponentially increase in size. This is really strange looking for sure. And locals from Michigan are no stranger to these ice balls, but for the rest of us, imagine seeing them for the first time. In August of 2018, two huge oarfish washed up on the shore of Luzon Island in the Philippines. One of them was 12 feet long, while the other was a whopping 14 feet long. Then something really weird happened a couple of days later on August 18, 2020, when a 6.6 magnitude earthquake shook the small island. This caught the attention of scientists who recalled that 20 deep-sea oarfish stranded themselves on beaches right before the devastating 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. So, what's going on here? Some say these fish wash up on the beaches days before an earthquake, and Japanese fishermen call them the messenger from the sea god's palace. Something strange was happening across the West Coast in 2014. It appeared as though beaches from Oregon to California were under an alien invasion from a billion bluefish, jellyfish-like creatures that looked like tiny sailboats. They are called Valela, or by-the-wind sailors. But these aren't aliens or jellyfish, but are hydrozoans, which are relatives of jellyfish. So, why were millions and millions of these open ocean creatures washing up on beaches? They usually float on the surface of the ocean, riding the wind and water currents looking for food using a hardened triangular sail. But the wind pushed these Valela ashore and to certain death where they died in massive, stinking piles. They do have a sting like a jellyfish, but if you touch them, you won't feel pain in your fingers. But if you rub your eyes after, you're going to feel it. So if you see these on a beach somewhere, don't touch them. A Reddit user snapped a photo of this weird figure on a beach in Malibu and posted it online for the world to see. They wanted to know what the creature was, but no one had an answer. At first, it almost looks like someone threw a couple of slices of ham into the water. Scientists eventually stumbled onto the photo and they came up with nothing. The small creature was about 5 inches across and weighed about 7 pounds. Whatever the animal was, it was decomposed and it was difficult to figure out what it might have been. It's difficult to say, but marine biologists said that the mysterious beast might be a sea hare, side gill, or limpet, but no one ever solved this mystery. Now we travel to a place called Otago in southern New Zealand where Kokoi Beach is. Along the shoreline here, you will find the oddest formation of rocks you will probably ever see. They are known as the Meraki boulders, and no one knows how they got there. These boulders look like they were man-made and range in size from 1.6 to 7.2 feet in diameter. Turns out these were created by the Earth and are concretions where the boulders started to form in marine mud near the surface of the Paleocene sea floor. The outside shell is formed of calcite, while on the inside are different minerals. Some of these lay cracked open and show an orange color. Experts say some of these may have taken millions of years to form. Then, when the water levels went down, they were uncovered along the beach. Now it's time to head to St. Augustine, Florida. But we'll go back in time to 1896. Two young boys were riding their bikes along Anastasia Island when they came upon something that must have frightened them almost badly. What they saw was an enormous blob of something unidentifiable lying half buried in the sand. At first they thought it might be a beached whale, but it looked nothing like an animal. They went back to town and told the physician what they saw. All three went back to the scary carcass, which was very pale pink, almost white, and had a silverish reflection in the sunlight. It was about 18 feet long and 7 feet wide, and it was estimated to weigh 5 tons. But no one knew what it was. But this isn't the only time things like this started to wash up on beaches, and they were called globsters, which is the unknown carcass of some sea creatures. Some of these look like hairy sea monsters, like the one that washed up in the Philippines in 2017. They look pretty gross and are likely the remains of sperm whales. Now we're going to take a little trip to La Arena Beach in Spain, where on October 1st, 2013, the most unlikely creature washed up on the beach. The carcass of a giant squid, which was 30 feet long and weighing 400 pounds, washed up on shore. This is the largest animal on the planet without a backbone, and they have the animal kingdom's largest eyes, which can be as big as a human head. The reason that it's strange is that many people have never seen a giant squid since they live at fantastic depths in the ocean and they never come to the surface. An underwater photographer caught one of these on camera in 2012 off the Ogasawara Islands. The first live footage of a giant squid ever captured. The giant squid that washed up on the beach is now at the Maritime Museum of Cantabria if you want to see one. It might be your only chance. Our next strange find takes us to Ocean Beach, San Francisco. If you're walking down the beach here, you might find things like seashells, starfish, a couple of crabs, or some seaweed. What you wouldn't expect to find is a tombstone a century old. Sometime in May 2012, a couple of people strolling down the beach found something really spooky. A headstone with the name Emma Bosworth and the date 1876. Definitely one of the most bizarre things to be found on a beach. But then, 1 month later, another tombstone appeared on the same beach belonging to Delia Presby Oliver from 1890. But how did these tombstones end up on the beach? They surely didn't wash up there. But someone figured out why. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, San Francisco shut down cemeteries that were within city limits and moved the bodies to another city. The leftover tombstones were used as construction material, which included building a sea wall. It just took some time for erosion to uncover the mysterious tombstones. Now we travel to Washington Beach, where scientists were looking for extinct marine invertebrates with spiral shells when they found something else totally unexpected. A big, fragmented femur bone from an 80-million-year-old meat-eating dinosaur, much like the Tyrannosaurus. The fossilized bone is 16.7 inches long by 8.7 inches wide, just slightly smaller than a T-Rex thigh bone. This was the first dinosaur fossil found in the state of Washington, and surely one of the strangest things you would find on a beach. That's all we got for now. But if you've seen something strange on a beach and we missed it, let us know. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to become part of our big family, and we'll tell you when a new video is ready for you. Thanks for watching.